Well, we continue on our basketball coverage here in the Xfinity Sports Report, your Colorado high school connection. Time to break down the 4A and 5A state tournament. To do that, we bring in our in-studio guest, Matt Langely with Basketball Colorado. And of course, Marty Cesario, member of our broadcast team, and of course, other various outlets. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. It's one of the best times of the year. We're down to the final four teams. And let's start with 4A and look at that 4A bracket. You see it right there. Pueblo East taking on Sand Creek, a couple of 21-5 teams, Denver South, Cheyenne Mountain. Matt, we're going to start with you. And Pueblo East and Sand Creek, your thoughts in that semifinal matchup?
The semifinal matchup with Sand Creek and East, it's going to be a really good game. The two Gavins, Dylan Gavin for Pueblo East, who is their leader, their scorer, and then Dylan Clark for Sand Creek. He's committed to Air Force Prep, and he's going to lead that Sand Creek team, and it's going to be a great game. Yeah,
and there's Pueblo East, Marty. I think a lot of us maybe thought that Valor Christian would make another run to the state championship game, runners-up of a season ago. Not to be, the Eagles move in.
Must respect the guys down south in Pueblo, and I think maybe part of it, kind of an intriguing little element to add, Coach is sharing with me, is maybe they're conditioned for big venues to play in this type of a scenario, playing down there at the Colorado State Fair Event Center. First guy I thought of was Jordan Gregory. He's somewhere up in Montana. There's an alum going, yeah, that's right, those are my boys, so congrats. And now we do have representation from down south in Pueblo.
Yep, and a couple of Colorado Springs teams as well. By the way, Gregory led the Eagles to the state championship game in 2010, where they were defeated by Sierra. Now, the other semifinal match, it'll be Cheyenne Mountain and Denver South. And by the way, all the teams in the Final Four and 4A were number 2 seeds. All the number 1 seeds got knocked off. So you look at South and Cheyenne Mountain, and boy, that Cheyenne Mountain Thompson Valley game, Matt, was terrific yesterday.
That place was worthy of that game was worthy of the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Gus Name, double overtime. Gus Name goes for 41 points, leads Cheyenne Mountain past a very determined Thompson Valley team who, with their leader out, Colin Smith, with their leader out, fouling out halfway through the fourth quarter, Grant Rohrbach just put them on their back and said, come on, boys, we'll go to overtime. We'll go to double overtime if that's what it takes. But he came up just short, but it was an excellent, excellent game.
Yeah, how about Gus Name, 41. His brother Christian Name, of course, led Cheyenne Mountain to a soccer state championship back in November. He goes for 20. I mean, that's a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best we've seen within the last decade. It was just a case of where he wasn't getting any scoring help, and Gus decided, all on my shoulders, started releasing. No one came up to him, started nailing those threes, and took his team home to the Final Four.
Guys, I got to be honest, we don't really have any rooting interest here at XSR. Outside when Smoky Hill plays, I'm a Buffalo alum. I root for Smoky Hill. Right. But I really felt bad for Thompson Valley. I mean, it's a great story. And Matt, you know the story. 2 years ago, they're all sophomores. They only won 2 games, yet here they are, senior year. They really felt they had an opportunity to win state.
They did. It was just one of those things. They stayed together, they gelled together, and they played together as a team. They knew Colin Smith was their leader, but at different times of the season, someone else would step up. And
yep.
It was a true team.
And meanwhile, Marty, Denver South, I mean, here they are, and Malik Fletcher had his ball club peaking at the right time now. Remember, they started off 1-4. They were really inconsistent here this year, but they got the big win over TJ.
Never want to play those teams that are putting it all together, getting better at this time of the year, and Denver South is doing that. Remember, they lost Lorenzo Snoddy earlier on in the year. That had big impact for them negatively, but you get guys like Tyson Purifoy, just watch him, and I try to hold back, but I can't, because the way he is playing as a point guard is just amazing to me. Some of the most responsible guard play from Antonio Garcia that I've seen in a long time in that grade 8 game. And then, of course, Ibrahim Sila. You can go ahead and put out the hype, and he'll deliver, including tearing up the backboard and causing a 10-minute delay. He's just been outstanding. And not only offensively, what he does defensively. He disrupts everything, and that has big impact on the ball game.
All right, Marty, who you got? 4A.
I think I'm leaning, Matt and I are kind of leaning the same way, as whoever comes out of that Cheyenne Mountain Denver South game, I think is going to have a pretty good shot at taking a title.
Matt?
He stole my idea. That's kind of where I was leaning. I think just the two styles, there's such different styles with South and Cheyenne Mountain plays very, very similar, pressing, rely on a couple of key players, whereas the other two teams, Sand Creek and Pueblo East, they're teams. They have their solid players like East, Dylan Gavin and Dylan Clark for Sand Creek, but I just think that other style of play I prefer, so I'll go with the winner of that game.
That should be fun no matter what happens up there in Boulder. So let's go to Class 5A and get you a look at those final 4 teams. And I'll tell you what, it is going to be 2 outstanding semifinal matchups. Of course, you look at Mountain Vista Fossil. They are 51-1 combined, and then East and Overland. And gentlemen, let's start with Mountain Vista and Fossil. Again, each of these 2 teams, by the way, all #1 seeds making it through to Boulder in the 5A bracket. Marty, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on that Mountain Vista Fossil Ridge game. I think that's going to be a track meet.
Great coaching, and you've got system play, and they're going to have to collide in that Final Four game. I mean, you know, also you've got teams that have a bunch of parts and they play their roles to where they excel. You know, Mountain Vista has just a gorgeous starting 5. Ray Beresford, I love him. Of course, we're going to talk Jake Pemberton. I mean, you know, and then Graham Smith. Don't underestimate the D1 soccer player, what he does around the boards. And then for Fossil Ridge, there's 12 guys, constant pressure for 4 quarters, and then all of a sudden they're up 20. Just love their play, and of course they've got a feature piece in Alex Senadani.
Yeah, and Fossil Ridge played out of that front range and probably wasn't the toughest of the 5A conference. Certainly wasn't, but might have been down towards the bottom half of the Class 5A conferences. Matt, will their conference slate hurt them?
No. Simply no, because Fossil Ridge, they're a team, and Evan Smith, their point guard, is playing fantastic lately. And he controlled their grade 8 game. Mm-hmm. When he wasn't in, Fossil Ridge was okay, but when he was in, it was like the difference between driving a Chevette and a Corvette. Yeah. When he's in there, he's that engine for the Corvette. So Fossil Ridge is no problem there with Mountain Vista. It's going to be a great game, track meet. Yeah. And it's probably going to come down to the last minute and whoever scores that last layup.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Of course, we had Bob Wood on the program a little bit earlier, head coach at Mountain Vista. And had a couple of opportunities to see Fossil Ridge this year. I know we were all up at that Fairview game where they dismantled the Knights, who were a little shorthanded that night. But, hey, Fossil's really good. And one of the things Matt Johansson said after the game on Friday night was he wasn't proud for the fact that the girls' team or the boys' team was going to be there, although he was. But he wasn't proud of the fact that it was just the first time. He was proud of the fact that the state of Colorado would now get a real opportunity to see what his team is all about. It should be a lot of fun. Now, the second semifinal game, it's going to be a blast, too. It's Denver East taking on Overland. And Marty, there's Denver East. They're kind of everybody's favorite coming into the season. But don't sleep on Overland. Blazers have won 10 straight.
The Blazers are the team, as I referred to South. They are getting better as we go, putting it together. The defensive play of Taryn Williams in that grade 8 game, what he did to Jeremiah Page, that's something that has to be commended. It has to be applauded, and it should be recognized. Amazing, and then what, you know, the exchange between Taryn Williams and I on camera, I mean, that's why we like student athletics. Very emotional kid. Deron Davis, 14 points, 15 points. Coaches said he had the perfect game, and a lot of that, it won't even show up in statistics. He played like 6'9", D1 blue chipper, just affecting everything around him, and including, you know, grabbing those defensive boards and sending them down the way to Conway and all the guards. And just a beautiful game, well played and well coached by Overland. They certainly are Final Four worthy.
Yeah, and certainly they have the athletes to hang with Denver East. Matt, I'm going to put you on the spot again. If Denver East brings their A game, if they play their 10 game, if you will, can Overland beat them?
No. And here's why. Simply because East, they've been here before. They've done this before. They fell short last year. If Dom Collier is seriously on his 10 game and everybody else is with them, it won't be close. And that's all due respect to Overland. They're young. They're a bunch of they're young. They're sophomores. Yeah. Deron Davis is very, very good, but I don't think they're ready for that if East is playing their 10 game.
Yeah.
And they haven't yet.
They haven't yet, which is the scary thing too. And you know, we talked about Gus Name's 41. Let's not forget the 32 put up by Collier.
Dom was so impressive in the Highlands Ranch game. He literally scored 26 points in a row for East. Yeah. It was a slow game to start with, and he just said, you know what, let's just do this, and then scored 26 points over the course of the second and third quarters. It was an absolutely fun game to watch.
All right, boys, back to who you got, Matt, 5A.
East. I love Fossil Ridge. They're one of my favorite teams. I love talking to the kids and talking to Coach Johansson, but I think I saw them play the scrimmage at the beginning of the year. There was Fossil Ridge, there was East, there was Overland. They all got together for their preseason scrimmage, and I think East will overtake them, but it's so much fun.
I think we've been on the road to have the collision between East and Fossil Ridge. That'll solve a lot of things. The chatter will die down. We'll be able to get a final decision. Here's what I think. East is going to be having to go through some recollection. Last year, championship title game, last 3 minutes, Rudy Carey in the starting five, did not see any of it because they were sitting on the end of the bench having a discussion. After what happened last year, I think East has something to finish this year.
Yep, no question about that. Count me as going with the best player in the state. That's Dom Collier. I'm going to go with the East as well. Gentlemen, as always, appreciate your input. Thanks so much. Enjoy next week in Boulder.
Thank you. I will.
All right, for Matt Langley and Marty Cesario, we'll take a time out. We'll wrap up the program coming up after this on XSL.